Well, welcome to this DAISY presentation. DAISY actually stands for Decentralized AI System. It's an idea that was born of four individuals, four founders, alongside this remarkable lady, Dr. Anna Becker. Dr. Anna Becker has a PhD in AI. It's something she's been studying for more than 20 years. She's considered a world expert in the field of artificial intelligence, and that's something that's changing our world today. Robotics, algorithms, all of this alongside blockchain is certainly making a big impact on the world today. Now, Dr. Anna Becker has been involved in trading systems. She's been very, very popular with Forex. And in 2018, she moved her attention to the wonderful world of cryptocurrency. And we just learned today that many of you who understand Bitcoin, it's had a very popular rise through the $40,000 barrier based on some very, very popular companies, popular billionaires getting involved in Bitcoin. And if you don't have any familiarity with cryptocurrency, this is your opportunity to turn your fiat currency into cryptocurrency and allow the genius behind Endotech, the genius behind her scientists, her robotic software to make you money. That's exactly right. You can have your money making you money with Endotech. And if you pay attention to our presentation, you'll find an avenue here that just might suit you. Now, traditionally, Endotech has been dealing with the high net worth individuals. They've been dealing with the top investment firms from the banking industry. She's been dealing with institutions and hedge funds. And traditionally, it hasn't been open for ordinary folk across the world. But now's your opportunity. And now you can get started. Dr. Anna Becker has more than 150 investment firms, and also she manages more than $1 billion. That's right, $1 billion. But your opportunity is to get started with as little as $100 in an amazing opportunity that is just about to launch. Now, many of you haven't heard of Endotech, and probably before this presentation, it's never crossed your lips. And that's possibly because you're not in the world of fintech, you're not in the world of AI, you're not in the world of trading. And that's fine. But as you do your homework and your due diligence, you will find that Gemini.com, this is a website, a platform, an exchange owned by the very famous Winklevoss twins. These guys are billionaires. They're recognized industry leaders. They've been around at the beginning of Facebook. They were around at the beginning of Bitcoin. In fact, I think it was 2013. The Winklevoss twins bought $11 million of Bitcoin. And today we learn that Elon Musk is making that decision today, where he bought 1.5 billion in Bitcoin. But these guys did it way back in 2013. And this is their website. And when you go to their website and scroll across to institutions and scroll down, you will notice that they too are endorsing the expertise or the partnership in Endotech, because Endotech have the technology to trade on Gemini's exchange, on the Binance exchange, and many others. So it's nice to see this reference. And if you click on the Endotech link, it will pull you, it's hyperlinked, it will pull you back to Endotech's website. So there is a recognized relationship between Endotech and Gemini. Now, when we go and look at some of the past performance, and of course, past performance certainly does not equal future results, but it gives you an indication of what's possible. And we examine some of the work that Endotech have done with many of their clients. We have learned that they have now in around 40 different algorithms, 40 different programs. And these programs are generally discussed with the client, where they can pick and choose, and they decide what they want to achieve. What is their appetite to risk? What is the purpose of the fund? And when you negotiate that with Endotech, they will probably make a recommendation, or to use a variety or maybe just one of their very, very successful algorithms. The one on the page here is the top leverage strategy, and there are many others. But we can see here that this account has achieved in around 300% in a very short period of time. But as I said, past performance does not equal future results, but they're very, very impressive. Now, DAISY pre-launched just a few weeks back, and one of our contributors, we call them a tier 10 contributor, they were able to share real passive trading rewards with us. And in their account, we can see here, very, very transparent, on the 4th of February this year, this client achieved trading passive rewards of about $1,800. The client was able to show us the rewards the following day on the 5th of February this year. It was noted that the account had grown to $2,500. This is passive. This is not active. This is an expert doing the work for you rather than you having to learn how to trade. You see, it's said that 90% of people will lose 90% of their money in their first 90 days trying to trade. Why bother? Why go that way when you can have an expert with over 20 years experience to do the work for you simply by engaging with this wonderful opportunity here with the DAISY Fund? The client then showed us on the 6th of February this year, the next day, $4,500 of income. Please remember, it's a tier 10 contribution, and the results are relative to your contribution. We'll share what that means with you in just a moment. But it gives you a reflection of real trading going on today. And of course, it can go up and down. It's like Bitcoin. There is an emotional roller coaster. Sometimes it's $40,000. Sometimes it's 37. Sometimes it's 38. It could drop to 32. There is this up and down, I suppose, volatility in trading. But if you want results that are real, and all the trading will be documented, all the trading will be verified and validated by none other than one of the top 4 accountancy firms in the world. And that will be reported that the results we're sharing with you, even on this screen, are true and accurate. And that's very, very important. And in fact, if you can make what's called a tier 10 contribution, there is an opportunity to become what we call a VIP client of Endotech. Okay, what that would mean is you would get the benefits of institutional trading, which is absolutely amazing, to be able to get Endotech. And what they will do is they will trade through an API directly to your Binance account, or it might be your Gemini account, where you keep the money, you keep control of the money, and you give Dr. Anna Becker the parameters to trade on your balance, and you're in control. And that's a very special arrangement we've negotiated. So if you can make up to tier 10 contribution, then there is an opportunity. I don't know how long that opportunity is going to last, but certainly all tier 10 clients are being offered this opportunity to become what we call a VIP. Very, very special arrangement. Now, if we take a look at the roadmap, we can see that Endotech, created way back in 2012, is starting to mold into a very, very successful company. In fact, November last year, they had a valuation done of in around $100 million. And it has always been Dr. Anna's dream, her goal, to take this to the stock market, to take it public. And she gave it a 10-year window. So if she started in 2012, we're looking potentially at the end of 2022, 10 years later, that this company goes to the stock market. I heard from a good friend of mine recently that if we were around at the beginning of Amazon stocks were around $1 each back in 1994. Go and check out today what the price of an Amazon stock is. So there's potential here. If you like our product, if you like our program, you can contribute to the project. And if you do so, you're going to get certain rewards. And general rewards, number 1 will be equity in the company, because that's on offer, where Dr. Anna Becker has offered 10% equity in the company for this community, the community of the DAISY Crowd Fund. And collectively, we develop one fund, because if you can imagine, it would be too difficult for, let's call it Endotech, to deal with 10,000 clients and everybody does $100. We create one fund, and collectively we build a very serious fund. And when I say a very serious fund, we're looking to achieve $500 million under management inside that DAISY Fund. And of course, we've already gathered about 25 million has already been gathered towards that new development of AI, towards that new phase of AI, and you can be part of this starting with just $100. Now, how would you get connected? Well, very simply, the person that's invited you to this information might share with you what we call their smart link or the referral link. What you do is you go to your device, you can download it, whether it's an Android or whether it's your iOS device, you can download this piece of software. It's called the TRON link application. It's a dApps application. dApps stands for Decentralized Application. It actually has a browser inside it. Now, of course, the one I went for was the Chrome extension. Well, how did I do that? I went to Google and I typed in TRON link Chrome extension, and I downloaded for free a Chrome extension, which actually puts this wallet right alongside my browser. And when I type in daisy.global, it brings me to the web platform. But of course, if somebody's referring you, you cut and paste their smart link into your browser, and that connects you to this community. That connects you to the Daisy crowdfunding. Now, the good news is the minimum contribution is just $100. And what I like about that is it means that everybody essentially across the world has the ability to participate with just $100. As I said, normally to do business with Endotech, you probably have to have in around $1 million on account. But here, starting with $100, it means it opens up the doors for everyone. Now, what will happen is that 50% of that contribution goes to Endotech, that goes to the Daisy crowd fund, where they develop the AI and they use that money to do the trading, to test the results. And you get benefits. You get what we call trading rewards. You also get equity in the company, because every $100 that you contribute, you get 1 share in 5% of the Endotech equity when it goes to flotation. The other 50% goes to the marketing side to develop the business. So it's quite simple. Now, there are 10 different tiers of contribution. So I've already covered the first one is $100. $50 will go to the trading account, $50 will go to the crowd, and of course you will see here that you get 1 of 5% equity in the company. For those of you that contribute higher, let's say an additional $200, meaning the total contribution of $300, well, the same rules apply. 50% goes to the trading account, 50% goes to the marketing side in the crowd, and you get 3 shares. Again, for those that can contribute an additional $400, that's a total contribution of $700. The rule is 50% will go to the trading account for you, and the other 50% goes to the marketing side in the crowd. And that's the same up until tier 7, which would be a total contribution of $12,700. 50% goes to the trading side and 50% goes to the crowd. Now, there is a black line here, a thicker black line. You will notice that when you contribute to the higher tiers, that's 8, 9, and 10, what happens now is the smart contract deploys 70% of your contribution to the trading side, 70%, which is fantastic. And of course, then only 30% goes to the crowd. And of course, then you can see the allocations of equity that you're also benefiting. So you're getting trading rewards. In other words, your money's working for you. You're getting trading rewards from the technology, and you're also getting equity in the company. So if you like the project, just like any project, crowdfunding, ladies and gentlemen, is very, very popular today. You might crowdfund something locally. Maybe it's a small business. Maybe it's a charity. There are many, many ways to help a project. If you like the Daisy crowdfunding project, then you decide the level of contribution you'd like to make. The benefit of that contribution gives you trading rewards, and the other benefit is ownership, stock, equity in the company. That's what's on the table. Now, I want to talk about what happens the other part. So we know that either 50 or 70% goes to the trading. What happens the other 50 or 30% as it may be? Well, what actually happens is we use this in the marketing side, and we have a piece of software. It's called a matrix. It's known as a 3x10 matrix. And really all that means is, ladies and gentlemen, there are 3 empty locations on the first generation of your structure. So generation 1, there are 3 empty locations. If, for instance, you were to share this idea with 3 others, they would generally assume the positions of 1, 2, and 3 on the first generation of your matrix. And you're entitled to 4% of their contribution. Okay, so, and because the minimum contribution is just $100, well, 4% of $300 is $12. You'd make $12. Now, once those first 3 locations are filled, it means any additional acquisition of customers or acquisition of crowdfunders comes to the Daisy crowd, they must go below these 3. These 3, let's call this real estate. These 3 are gone. The next 4, 5, 6, and subsequent ones fall onto the second generation of your matrix. And there are only 9 positions on the second generation. You're also entitled to 4% of those contributions if they're in the tiers 1 to 7, and of course it's 2% in tiers 8 to 10. Now, why is there a gold rectangular box around the first 2 generations? All this depicts for you, ladies and gentlemen, is this. that this may occur for you. This could possibly happen for you without any personal introductions, because there is zero personal requirement to share this with anyone. You know, you might just want to be a contributor and go what we call passive. You don't have to be active. But if you feel it's a good project, you'd like to share it with some folk that you know, then you might refer it. But in the event that you don't, and let's say you do have an active upline or an active upline, that the spillover potentially can fall into your first 3 locations and into those 9, you are still entitled to these commissions, whether or which you introduce these people or not. That's really what that means. Now, to benefit from any further contributions, in other words, from these 27 contributions, then there is some criteria. And it simply says it here. You need 3 personal introductions, and you need $1,000 of contribution. Now, it could be 3 or more. It could be 3, 4, or 5 that you introduce, and the total contributions is $1,000. If that is the case, you're entitled to these 27 contributions at 3%. Again, if we go down to generation 10, how do you qualify for commissions on generation 10? Very simply, if you've made 24 direct referrals with a total contribution of $128,000 from those 24, now you might have 30, 40, 50, doesn't matter, as minimum is 24, as long as there's $128,000 in contribution, that opens 59,000 payments to you. That's correct. As this crowd develops, as the business grows, you're entitled, once you're qualified, for those 59,000 payments at 4%. Now, that's going to be a whole lot more money than the 3 that you might have made at the beginning at 4%. Can you see the power of numbers? Can you see the power of the matrix? Now, if we, for a moment, hypothetically suggest that everybody only contributed $100 to the project, let's say you said, you know, this sounds like a worthy project. I like this company. They seem to be very good at AI. I like the fact that they might take this to the market. You know what? I'm going to make a contribution. You contribute $100. Well, in this example, if everybody only made that $100 contribution, you could see, provided you filled this matrix, you would have in around $340,000 of commissions. Now, in the real world, ladies and gentlemen, I want to tell you that this doesn't happen because people are people. Some people are very busy and don't have time. Maybe they make a few referrals. Some people are quite lazy and don't want to make any referrals. Some people are quite active, and it really depends. Some people will introduce 3 people. Some will introduce 23 people. Some people won't introduce anyone at all. So there is a variety of results that may occur. But based on everybody producing 3, and if we take into consideration these qualifications, let's say in the month of February, you shared this with 3 people, and they in turn shared it with 3 people that they knew in the month of March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November. Take a month's holiday, call it December. Imagine in the entire year you achieved this. Well, how bad would a commission table like this look to you 12 months from now, let's say? Of course, if you only do half of this, well, how bad would $170,000 sound to you for a $100 contribution? And what if you only achieve 10% of this example? How bad would $34,000 appeal to you? 10% of these results. Now, of course, we can envisage that not everybody's going to contribute $100. Some will do more. And in fact, we've just calculated, hypothetically, imagine this same community, same structure, imagine they just upgraded through the various tiers of contribution, all the way, say, tiers 1 to 7. You can quite clearly see here that that would be very impactful in anybody's life. The potential there would be $43 million. And for those of you that can conceive that possibly that these customers might potentially upgrade to tiers 8, 9, and 10, well, if we take that into consideration, the same crowd, the same community, if the entire community upgraded from 100 all the way to tier 10, you can see there's an additional 154 on top of the 43, meaning the total possibility filling a matrix is $198 million. Now, again, please don't misquote me and say, this guy told me I could make $198 million. Well, in a true 3x3 fully forced matrix with 88,000 people contributing at all 10 tiers, yes, that is a fact, provided, of course, you do the qualifications. And there's no way you won't do the qualifications, because if there's 198 million on the table, you're going to share this with 24 people, and you're going to make sure those contributions are 128,000. But let's bring this down a bit. Let's say 1%. 1% of this was achieved in your case. 1% would still pay you $1.9 million, guys. It's absolutely amazing. There is something here for everyone, starting at $4, because if you only shared it with one person, 4% would pay you $4. There's something between $4 and 198 million here, and that's down to you. That's down to your effort. That's down to your skill level. That's down to your willingness to learn. That's down to your willingness to go to work. That's down to your willingness to put action into this and make it happen. Of course, I'm giving you an overview. We actually can train you, we can show you, we can teach you mechanisms that will help facilitate the best structure you can possibly engineer with this project. Now, what I've done here is we've taken the first 3 tiers of contribution, the $100, the $200, and the $400. So imagine the total contribution was just $700 in this case. Well, if you fill that 3x10 matrix, you can see the first matrix would pay 344. Well, it's easy to find out that a double contribution of $200 is going to double the result. So instead of 344, the second matrix would pay you 688. And of course, you're getting paid in the first and the second. So the cumulative total here is $1 million. And if you use the same demographics, the same crowd to populate the third matrix at $400, you can see that's going to be double the 688, which is 1377. So if you were to fill all 3, just in the first matrix, you can see here, there's approximately $2.4 million on the table. Well, how bad would 10% of that sound to you? What about $250,000? What about 1%? Yeah, $24,000. Again, it's just to give you an idea that we calculated the $100 matrix. Now we're looking at calculating the first 3, just to give you some kind of, I suppose, roadmap. It's a bit like an architect. An architect will design the house in advance of it being produced. This is really what we're here. It's a hypothetical example, but it's down to you to bring the builders, to bring the bricklayers, to bring the electricians, to bring the plumbers, to put the roof on the house. It's up to you to build the structure, and we'll do our best to help you do that to the best of your ability. Now, I want to introduce you to 2 other bonuses, because that's just one bonus. Here's 2 more. You're also entitled to 5% of every contribution of every personally referred contributor that you bring to the table. So if you only bring one person, you're entitled to 5% of the contribution, regardless of what that is, whether it's 100,000 or whether it's $100. You're entitled to that, and that's not dependent on what tier you funded. You might only tier the $100 level. You might introduce somebody that goes to tier 7. You're still entitled to the 5%, regardless. That applies to everybody you introduce. The more you introduce, the more 5% you're going to earn. But in addition to that, you're also entitled to 10% of their matrix earnings. And of course, this doesn't come out of their paycheck. This is paid directly to you from the smart contract. So this is fantastic. So let's say you were in the first 3 tiers. You're entitled to 10% of the earnings from your personal directs in those first 3 tiers. If you're in the first 7 tiers, you're entitled to 10% of the matrix earnings from all your directs in those first 7 tiers. But if you're in tier 7 and one of your directs goes to tier 8, you're entitled to all commissions from the matrix earnings up to tier 7. You're not entitled to tier 8 because you've opted out. You've opted not to go in and receive that 10% bonus. So that's how it works. And the good news, ladies and gentlemen, is this is paid instantly. When I say instantly, you're talking 3 to 5 seconds. You're paid 3 to 5 seconds after the event occurs. So once there's a contribution made, you can check your wallet. It's paid real time, real live, straight into your wallet. And of course, that wallet is connected to either your computer through that Chrome extension, or you'll find it in your TRON link wallet on your device, on your Apple or on your Android, and it's paid immediately. And the good news there is there's nobody holding on to the money. It's not as though it's sitting on an exchange or it's sitting waiting to be paid out at the end of the week or the end of the month. This is paid out real time, live events. Guys, that's fantastic. Nobody can run away with the money because the money is paid instantly, peer-to-peer. That's the benefit of a blockchain. It's wallet to wallet, peer-to-peer, person-to-person contributions, which is absolutely amazing. And that brings us to a very special bonus I'd like to discuss, and this is our pace setter bonus. Now, there are several parts to the pace setter bonus, but a pace setter is simply the pace you set in the first 30 days of your life in the DAISY crowd. A bit like in a bicycle race, very often if they're going to beat a world record, they'll set out a pace setter, somebody to take up the charge, somebody to go hard on the track to bring the rest of the pack along. Setting the pace. If you set the pace in the first 30 days, the software does something very nice for you, and it's as follows. Imagine after your first 30 days, or even within your first 30 days, you only achieved what we call Generation 3 qualified, which is 3 personal introductions and a total contribution of $1,000. Imagine that's all you did. Well, the software will reflect that and say, well, congratulations, but what we'd like to do is we'd like to pay you on all contributions made on the 4th generation without any personal additional qualification on your behalf. In other words, it opens up the 4th generation of commissions to you based on what you've done in the first 30 days. So let's go down to qualifying for Generation 9. You would require 21 directs, total contribution of $64,000. If that were the case after 30 days, the software would open up Generation 10 for you, and you're entitled to the benefits of all these 59,000 contributions coming in from the crowd. You're getting paid in every one of them. Why? Because the pace setter bonus says this: unlock any matrix levels 3 to 9 in your first 30 days and get the next matrix level unlocked for life. So there you go. If you weren't able to share it with 24, and if the contributions was only 92,000, it didn't make the 128, not bad. The 21 and 64 qualifies you for the next generation, and that's for life. So hope you understand the first part of the pace setter bonus. The second part is more important for those that want to achieve what I call the global spillover from the entire community. Here, this is reserved for those of you that achieve qualified matrix generation 10. What does that mean, qualified matrix generation 10? What it means is, if you want to benefit from the commissions on the 10th generation, you need to have 24 directs yourself with a total contribution of 128,000. If you do that, you're entitled to these 59,000 payments, these 59,000 contributions. But what also you're entitled to is you're entitled to a share in 1.8% of the entire contributions of the whole network, of the entire community, of the entire crowd. And now that means maybe you only have this small team of 24 people, but there are people putting together teams of 30,000 people. There's the community itself has already 50,000 contributors. And when that grows to 100,000, 1 million contributors, you're getting a slice to your wallet on every single contribution. So it's very, very important to roll up your sleeves and go to work and achieve this for you and your family. This gold pace setter bonus says this: introduce 24 directs or more with a total contribution of $128,000 or more, and do that in your first 30 days from when we go live. You get a profit share equally divided by everybody else who achieves that, and it's 1.8% of every single contribution. In addition to that, you get that extra 5% is reserved in equity of Endotech. So we talked about her offering 10% to this community. 5% goes to everybody, but the extra 5 is reserved for those of you that achieve gold pace setter. A very worthy benefit. And the third benefit is this: as the community withdraws its profits, its trading rewards from the trading side of Endotech, as if somebody makes a withdrawal today or tomorrow or next year, any contribution that's withdrawn, 1.25% of the entire world's withdrawals is shared with this crowd, with this community that unlock that gold pace setter. It's absolutely amazing. Now, the next pace setter bonus is what we call our leadership bonus. And as described, it means that you will benefit from another share in 1.8% of every contribution, in addition to 1.25% of every trading reward withdrawal. That's if you can share this with 3 people that hit the gold pace setter. So every 3 that you do it, if you introduce 6 people that go gold pace setter, you get 2 shares in this pool. So there are 2 pools. The first one is 1.8%. That's for those that achieve gold pace setter. 24 directs, and 128,000 in contribution. The second one is another 1.8%, an entirely separate pool, and that's for those of you that show leadership and guide and share this project with others. And if you achieve 3 directs that make that goals pace setter, you start picking up this 1.8%. And you'll probably see some videos on YouTube how I've described that on a flip chart. It might make more sense to you on a flip chart than it does on this slide. But please get back to the person that shared this with you. Find out exactly how to do this, because we know that more than 100 people have already achieved it, and that means you can achieve it too. And that brings us to our last bonus. This is our residual trading bonus. This is fantastic. It's been said that compounding is the 8th wonder in the world. And maybe you've heard the word compounding, but maybe you don't fully understand it. Well, don't be ashamed. Go to YouTube, type in, I don't know what, type in, how does compounding work? What is the power of compounding? Go and learn what compounding is. And you will find, in general terms, it's when your principal and your profit works together to make new money. It's when your principal and your profits are combined together to make additional money. That's the power of compounding. Well, to have a program that can compound your own money, that your money makes you money, is one great thing, the 8th wonder of the world. But what I coined the phrase, the 9th wonder of the world, is when you have that power of compounding applied to your entire genealogy. So this is your own personal team. Let's say you have 24 directs or 3 directs or 9 directs. As each of them withdraw money from Endotech, from their trading rewards, you're entitled to an additional 3.5% of everything they withdraw. In other words, you're getting paid on the compounding effect of other people's money, not just the compounding effect of your own, which is good enough in itself. And of course, you're qualified for the first 2 generations. But then to qualify for 1% from generations 3 to 10, you need to apply the rules that were qualified for the matrix earlier. And we covered that on an earlier slide. So this is amazing, getting the compounded benefit of the community's revenue, not just the compounding benefit of your own trading rewards in your own account. That's the difference with this. This is a very, very special bonus, and we're very excited about this. So that brings us to the end of our presentation tonight. We want to thank you for joining us. Please do me one favor, get back to the person that shared this with you, get your very valid questions answered. Maybe download this application right now, start getting familiar with it. Maybe start accumulating some TRON, get it ready for the launch. Decide on the tier of contribution that you'd like to make. If it's $100, it's $100. If it's $100,000, well, that's a different equation. It's entirely up to you. This is absolutely amazing. If you haven't understood, please press rewind, please press replay, please come and see us again. Get your valid questions answered, but more importantly, get started with DAISY. I want to thank you for joining us. Thanks again, and we'll see you again, same time, same link, Wednesday and Friday later in this week. Thank you. Good night.